Hey, what's up you guys, Caboose XB, I'll bring you another Injustice 2 video, and there is a lot to talk about. Some stuff that Ed Boon has been tweeting out about, some hints, some teases, and maybe even some confirmations about some things that are coming up for Injustice 2 in the near future. So let's just get right into this. Ed Boon, of course, a couple of days ago ran some polls for some people, asking them what kind of guest characters they'd like to see in Injustice 2. He asked them about what Mortal Kombat characters they'd like to see and what non-Mortal Kombat characters they'd like to see. Now, of course, with a landslide in both of these polls, as expected, Sub-Zero won for the Mortal Kombat poll and Spawn won for the non-Mortal Kombat guest character poll. With over 30,000 votes in the poll for the non-MK guest character, Spawn ended up winning and Ed Boon ended up tweeting out. So a lot of people want Spawn then, obviously teasing that Spawn could be coming, and then he teases once again in another tweet, this guy, hashtag Injustice 2, following a gif of Spawn. So it seems that Ed Boon is heavily hinting that Spawn will end up being a guest character through DLC in Injustice 2. He then later on went on to tweet, almost 20,000 of you spoke, and it seems like Sub-Zero would be your choice of an MK guest character in Injustice 2. We hear ya. And of course he links a photo of the poll for the best MK guest character in Injustice 2. And again, I can't stress this enough, I really don't want Sub-Zero or any Mortal Kombat character to be a guest character in Injustice 2 at all. It just feels like a bit of a cop-out for me, because if I wanted to play as Sub-Zero in a fighting game, I'll go play one of the Mortal Kombat games. I don't need to have Sub-Zero in Injustice 2. It brings no satisfaction to me to have that character in Injustice 2 at all, because one of the main features of the Mortal Kombat characters is that they're surrounded by this M-rated game with all this blood and guts and fatalities and brutalness, and that's what personifies these characters in the Mortal Kombat franchise, is that they can perform these badass fatalities. I mean, when you think of Mortal Kombat, do you think about doing combos and super moves and everything like that? No, you think of the crazy fatalities and how insanely awesome they are, and that's what those characters fit in. They don't need to be in Injustice 2, and it would annoy me so much if Sub-Zero was a guest character in Injustice 2. But there is one thing that will make it a little bit better. It will ease the burn, and it goes towards this next tweet that Ed Boon sent out as a reply to someone saying, no, we wanted Hellboy, wrong character. Now, this person said this in response, of course, to Spawn being announced as a guest character, I believe, and they said that they wanted Hellboy instead. And Ed Boon responds, what about both? Now, how interesting is that? Is Ed Boon teasing that not only are we going to get Spawn as a guest DLC character, but Hellboy as well? If we got Hellboy and Spawn as DLC characters in Injustice 2, it would definitely ease the burn a lot if we got Sub-Zero on top of that. I'd still be a little bit annoyed that Sub-Zero would be a guest character, but a lot less annoyed if we were to get Hellboy and Spawn as guest DLC characters in Injustice 2. Now, I know for sure that they have the rights to the character of Spawn, and I think at this point, without a shadow of a doubt, that Spawn is going to be a guest DLC character, but the question lies within on whether or not they're going to be able to get Hellboy and the rights to that character for Injustice 2. And to be honest, I don't doubt for a second that they can be able to do that. After Mortal Kombat X and them being able to get the rights to Alien and Predator, and then on top of that throwing Leatherface and Jason as guest characters for that game, I don't doubt for a second that they can go out and get the rights to Hellboy and be able to use that character in Injustice 2 as a guest DLC character. But that is not all. There is more teasing being done by Ed Boon. He tweeted just yesterday, as this is being recorded, asking in another poll, you want to see Watchmen characters in Injustice 2? With over 16,000 votes and still 6 hours left on the poll as this is being recorded, 72% said yes, 28% said no. Now, I'm sure once this poll is done, Ed Boon's going to make another tweet about this. Hell, maybe these are going to be characters within the main roster, because they are DC branded characters. As of DC Rebirth, they are officially DC canon characters. So Watchmen characters have a very high chance of showing up in Injustice 2, and not just in the form of DLC, as I was kind of previously assuming a couple months back. now I think there is a legitimate chance that Watchmen characters could be a part of the main roster in Injustice 2, and that would be freaking amazing. Although, and I've said this before, I think the only character from the Watchmen roster that could work in Injustice as a character is Rorschach. I don't think Dr. Manhattan could necessarily work unless somehow if these characters from the Watchmen are interwoven into the story of Injustice 2 and we get to find out some way that maybe they're weakened. That way it makes a little more sense that Dr. Manhattan can take on someone like Batman and it's a somehow fair fight, similar to how they did in Injustice Gods Among Us, where all the characters in the story mode took like this super pill that gave them like superhuman strength, obviously giving them a fighting chance against some superpowered foes. You know, like Green Arrow could go out and take on someone like Doomsday or something like that. Although it still seems super unrealistic, at least there was some sort of loophole that they created in order to make it make some sense somehow. So that would be the only way that I think that Dr. Manhattan could work as a character in Injustice 2. But besides that, I don't think any of the other Watchmen characters would really work. Maybe Night Owl, but it seems like it's just a Batman carbon copy. So Rorschach would be the only character I'm looking for in Injustice 2 as a playable character. Now, the last bit of news that we got in this plethora of news coming from Ed Boon's Twitter alone is another tweet where somebody asked him, any chance of an Injustice 2 demo or beta? And Ed Boon replies, there is a chance, yes. Now, I'm leaning more towards the fact that there could be a demo for Injustice 2, just because there was a demo for Injustice Gods Among Us. You know, they put in like 3 characters, 1 stage, and you get to just try out the game and try out some of the mechanics, maybe even learn a character or 2 in the process right before the release of the game. Or, you know, for some of the casual fans, they jump into the demo, they like the game, they buy it, you know? So that's usually what you want to release a demo for, just to give fans a taste of what they can get from the full product to convince them to buy the full product. But hear me out. What if a beta could be a genuine possibility for Injustice 2? Because one thing that's always kind of been a problem with NetherRealm Studios games is the netcode and the online play. Now, this is always upon launch. Usually, it kind of gets smoothed out after the release of the game, like a couple weeks or a couple months after. But what if they could be releasing a beta for Injustice 2 to test out their new netcode that they created for Mortal Kombat X and get it working well before the launch of Injustice 2? I think there's a chance that that could end up happening. I don't want to put any money on it, but there's a possibility, you know? So what do you guys think? Let me know all your thoughts on this in the comment section below. What was your favorite piece of news from this entire news roundup? What got you the most excited? I want to hear all your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm CaboosXBL. If you want to check out one of my other videos, they are linked on screen right now. And you can also subscribe by clicking my logo if you haven't already. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter and like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Leave a comment if you have an opinion. And subscribe if you're new. See you guys later.